of being arrested before. So, and my experience has been that he was in three different prisons when he was in the first time, and each one was run differently. Each one received me differently, and when he got into the higher level, that he was my biggest, I think my biggest wake up call, or what hit me, was when he was being transferred from the prison that he was going to leave to be paroled and be sent off to the place where he was supposed to wait to be paroled from, was the worst situation that we experienced. And there were a lot of situations there where they were baiting the prisoners, particularly, threatening them that they'd never get paroled, and they would make sure they wouldn't get paroled, and calling them, my grandson's Black, calling him nigger, and he said, "Grandma, I never was called a nigger until I got into prison." And he so I think my biggest concern in watching all this, I have a different eye for it because of the fact I've worked with all these kids and watched them as they come up through the juvenile justice system and or mental health or school, wherever they were, and watching how they were received and what kind of support they get, and the information that we have about the 18 to 24-year-old mind, which really, if anybody paid attention to what was coming in front of us, there's a lot of information on that 18 to 24-year-old brain and the teenage brain. And so I look at that and think of what we had, the information we have, yet what my experience has been is that I've watched, what I see is them creating more problems, and bringing in somebody who is very impressionable, and at an age where they probably have been through quite a bit of trauma and disappointment, and which I've worked in juvenile justice, so and I worked in the group homes, and I've worked with the kids, so I'm not going to say, oh gee, we should just pat him on the head and feel sorry for him, but there should be more of a program. And I've watched that there isn't, and I've watched the difference in him. The first prison he was in, the warden came out and found a table for me to sit with him, and we were able to sit and talk, and it was very relaxed, and we were welcomed as we came in. The next one that he went to get prepared to go out, I was treated like a criminal the minute I got on the in the location, from the time I got to the parking lot, even inside, and then being outside with two children that I had with me while his girlfriend talked to him. So the lack of oversight and the lack of understanding of bringing in that accountability. And I've actually been told, well, there's no accountability. Are you kidding me? They can do what they want to do, and they're going to do it when they want to do it. Had a situation with Caleb where he was baited by a woman that got mad at all the boys, and it was a situation where he actually was going to be sent out, and he was going to not be paroled. And he said, Grandma, and he wrote me and told me about it. It took me 2 days to get an ombudsman, but when I did, and she heard the story, she took care of it that afternoon. But other than that, he had another problem later on, and I couldn't find an ombudsman that was interested in jumping on and getting involved. So I don't think there's anything that we have as family to be able to have information and know what's really going on. They know what the young mind, what it does to them to be isolated. So, there's just a lot, and I think we all agree on that. And so my experience has been that it's just really a little fiefdom, and I'm going to just say it, a good old boy network, and they each run it the way they feel like, and shame on us for some of the things I've found out that are going on right now.
It is. It's truly difficult to get in touch with anyone. I will quickly tell a little bit of my experience. Um, so I got a phone call from another inmate's mother who said, "Your son has been stabbed, and we think they took him to the hospital." And that was all she knew. And and anybody who has a loved one incarcerated knows that you cannot get a hold of anyone at the Federal Bureau of Prisons. They do not answer the phone. If they answer the phone, they might transfer you to an extension. You're not allowed to have the extension number, and then get voicemail, and nobody calls you back. I had one person call me back from Beaumont, Texas, um, after the stabbing, well, long after, like weeks later. Um, and I said to him, I said, like, you're the only person who's ever called me back. Like, you know, you're a wonderful person. And he said, yeah, he goes, yeah, I don't belong here. I just turned in my resignation. I'm not saying that 100% of the guards are the ones who pit people together that are going to fight and then wager on the fights. I'm not saying it's 100% of them that stand there and let everybody walk through the metal detectors without, and when they ping, they don't search them. Not saying it's 100%, but it's probably 98. My son was stabbed leaving the chow hall in the evening. He was ambushed by two members of the Aryan Brotherhood who had just walked through a metal detector. And they, at that particular prison, they don't bother. They don't stop you if you ping the detector. I couldn't find out from anyone. I tried all of Tuesday afternoon and evening to find out whether he was dead or alive. I called my local federal representative, Michael Waltz, wonderful office, called them, and they called DC Central. DC called the facility. The facility got back to DC. DC got back to the congressman. The congressman got back to me. That was took about 24 hours. I was already on the road almost all the way to Beaumont when I heard back from the facility from the congressman who told me that the facility told central office they would send a report in a few days. Not whether he was dead or alive, but just that they would send a report in a few days. I drove the rest of the way. I got to Beaumont USP around 8 o'clock on Thursday night, went right to the guard gate. And the guard said, "Oh, well, did the chaplain call you?" And I said, "No, why?" She said, "Well, the chaplain usually calls if they're dead." I have found out since then that the chaplain doesn't always get a chance to call, doesn't always know. I've met a parent and a spouse who found out that their loved one was dead from the online inmate locator. When they hadn't heard from them in too long, they go on to see if they've been transferred and find out that they're deceased. So my son had been stabbed 13 times and then put into solitary. It's not solitary. It's not solitary anymore. The interesting. I've been reading this. This was from Crime and Justice News, where President Biden promises in his campaign that he is going to end the practice of solitary confinement. The you know NATO, I think it is, said that's 15 days of solitary confinement was torture, was defined as torture. The Bureau of Prisons decided they would end solitary confinement by putting 2 men in every 1-man cell. Now there's no more solitary, but those 2 men are on the same schedule. It's 24/7 lockdown. It's no hot meals. It's no communication with the outside world. It's, no medical coming to see you. After 4 medical slips turned in, he had to get his cellmate to take his stitches out. And the cellmate had 29 staples in his neck, which my son in turn removed for him. They were keeping the temperature, excuse me, in the SHU, in the segregated housing unit, keeping the temperature at 45 degrees while the guards were wearing winter coats and hats, and the inmates were shivering 24/7. I had one 15-minute phone call a month during that time. And I really wanted to scream. I would call, and there were others of us calling about the conditions, about the temperature conditions. I got a hold of someone one time, and I said, it's sadistic. And the guard said, he laughed first. He laughed, and then he said, well, have a nice day, ma'am, and hung up the phone on me. There is no accountability.
Can I interject here?
Yes.
Right, we are right now, we're all over. There are so many problems, and so many violations of innumerable rules, right?
Rights.
So what I want to say is that it's almost like the Bureau of Prisons is a black hole. Okay,
Yes.
somebody goes in and like that's it. You have no idea. Even me as a lawyer, you would think I would maybe get a return phone call. No. They do not account to anybody, which is really troubling. Candace, and Shire, I have to go pick up my son at the airport. I miss him, so I'm gonna go. But I would do anything, give any information you need, personal experience, whatever you need to try and focus. This is what we're interested in. Allison, do you have anything you could offer on this? Because right now, I mean, you can't solve the world, but whatever the Senate might be interested in, oh gosh, I would be honored to help.
Thank you. And Candace, this meeting today is just like step one. Kim Law just got on the call, and she and I collaborate a lot. What you see behind me, is a tower garden greenhouse. And I put these in schools, and my dream is to see every Federal Bureau of Prisons with a garden like this to help solve some of the nutrition problems, because the food, like at the freezer, at the Bureau of Prisons kitchens, some places the frozen meat doesn't say beef, chicken, ham. It says alligator, lion, tiger, it's zoo food. Some of the boxes say not for human consumption, that they're not fed well. That's another thing. But our real goal for starting this meeting was to hopefully get in front of the Senate Judiciary. We would like to testify to the Senate Judiciary. And I'm going to ask, we only have 4 minutes left.
I'm going to sign off.
Okay, thank you.
Shire, whatever you need, I can focus on anything. Okay.
Thank you.
It's nice being here. Thank you.
Chuck, would you just tell me about being handcuffed? just that one story about the handcuffs, please, and then we'll
I
let
see
Kim.
the Bureau of Prisons has a practice of problem prisoners who file too many grievances or file lawsuits. They disappear, and they give them what they call diesel therapy. And so you'll be leg chained, waist chained, and they've got a device they call a black box that they put over the handcuffs on the waist chains. And that is a torture device. I've had that black box on for 12 hours at a time, and it inches up your wrist, and you can't pull it back down yourself, and it puts pressure on your wrist, and if you feel like your wrists are going to break, you got to get another prisoner to pull it down for you. And once they take that black box off, you'll have the marks on your wrist will be there for a couple weeks, and it'll be a black ring indented into your wrist. And what they do with these prisoners is they give them what they call diesel therapy. They'll put them on a bus, and they'll transfer them from one shoe to the next shoe to the next shoe. And you're never there long enough to contact anybody to tell them where you're at or to contact your lawyer. And you're never there long enough to file a writ of habeas corpus. And then whenever you get the shoe you're going to, they will 4-point you and physically abuse you while you're 4-pointed. You don't get to use the bathroom. You don't get you'll wet yourself, you'll defecate yourself, and they'll come in and beat you with body shots. And you'll be there a couple weeks. They'll put you on the bus, they'll black box you again, and they'll bus you to the next place. I've seen guys disappear for months and then come back, and they're just broken. And there needs to be some kind of oversight to stop that practice. If you buck the system, you file too many grievances, or you file lawsuits against the administration, they got something for you.
Thank you very much, Chuck. Thank you. Candace, are you seeing a pattern here?
Yes, I am.
I'm sorry that you're the only loyal legislative aide to get on this call.
She's on there. Okay.
But I'm very grateful to you. It's going to be in your hands. And Kim,
Yes.
please contribute.
Thank you. I apologize for being late. My husband's in the hospital, and I was having to pick up some medical equipment for him. I'm the director of Fostering Your Family's Future. We have a program that we started about 20 years ago at Lowell Women's Prison, and it has the lowest documented recidivism rate in the nation. We did not know that until a couple of years ago, when we were just kind of curious to find out, hey, what's the ratio of the people who have gone through our programs and stuff like that. And we were delighted to find out. We couldn't understand why they were taking so long to get us the information back. And they were like, well, this can't be accurate. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They said, well, we've never seen this before. Literally nobody who completed our program violated, reoffended, or returned to prison. And it's been very consistent. What we've done is we teach a program called A New Path in the prison. We have a housing program also on the outside. We assist individuals, and while they're on the inside. A New Path teaches how to balance mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial. And then on the outside, we have a housing program that assists them in starting over, because a lot of folks who have been down for quite a while, when they come out, just even going grocery shopping is very traumatic, the changes and the things that they experience. So what we do is we walk through that process. We may take them to the grocery store very late in the evening when there's a lot of people there. Simple things like just going down the aisle and seeing. We have one of the reactions from one of the ladies that's in our program. She just started crying when she saw how many Oreos there were. She was like, there's more than 2 Oreos, a whole aisle. And so it was shocking to her. One of the things that we're really focused on is health and nutrition. And we recently bought a motel that is going to be a facility for individuals who are newly released from prison so that they have a place to start over. We are not a quote, re-entry program. These are individuals, it doesn't require licensing for what we do, because what we do is we have people come in, they have to go through, complete our program before they're released from prison. It's a 12-week class. Then once they're released, they come into our housing program. The Tower Gardens at Shire, as you can see in the background, we're going to have 27 of those at the, tell them you can't talk to them, Bob. I'm sorry,
Kim,
I'm in the hospital right now.
Kim, thank you. And Candace, what Kim is explaining
movie.
is that
I forgot about the movie.
Yeah. Oh, right. So go ahead.
So they shot a documentary about us over a 4-year period about our program and a young lady that's in it. She's deaf, autistic, and nonverbal, very limited verbal skills. She was in Lowell for 5 years with no interpreter. And so the film is called Being Michelle. You can actually see the trailer, and the black box that he's talking about, you can actually see them put that on her in the movie trailer. So you'll have a really clear visual cue of what that looks like. So imagine being deaf and you only use sign language, and your hands are like this, tied to your waist in a box that you can't move. So you can't even sign. So the only way she communicates is in sign language, and she can't even communicate because her hands are locked in a position that she can't communicate with them. So the movie is actually about what happens to individuals with special needs and circumstances. And Michelle's not the only one. There's a huge litany list. And when you go to the website, beingmichelle.com, you'll be able to see the support networks and different things that we're putting in place. The whole concept of the movie is to not only bring awareness, but to educate individuals. Our goal is to be able to get this before the Senate so they can actually see what's happening. And my father always taught me, don't ever complain about a problem unless you have the solution and an answer to it. And that's why we did what we did, because we have the solution and we have the answer that works and it's documented. So back to you, Shire.
Thank you, Kim. So yes, so like Kim said, we have a lot of the problem that we want to address, and plenty of I have documentation that what comes from the facility to the central office in DC is not accurate or truthful. That's the big disconnect. They're separate little islands run by the warden and often staffed by rather unrighteous individuals. I'm not sure how to describe that, but Candace, what can you do to get us in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee? Let us show them the movie and discuss some of these issues.
So first off, I'm going to say thank you, for meeting with me and sharing all of your experiences. I will say, unfortunately, Senator Warnock isn't on the Senate Judiciary Committee, so we can't get you in front. That would be Senator Ossoff, who is a member on.
And that's the woman who was supposed to be here, Sarah Schwarmberg, that I was waiting.
Yeah. But like you said, this is an important issue to the senator. So we're here and ready to, assist in any way we can, helping you to coordinate with the Ossoff team. If you have any other information you want to submit to me, I'm always here to listen, and I'm ready to present things to the senator.
So could you perhaps, if I send this recording, would you be able to, I'm gonna stop the recording.